Dear women, how can a man spot predatory behavior? At what point should he help? And how can he help? If you see a woman girl explicitly say no and he keeps moving towards her, clearly ignoring her no, intervene immediately. A random stranger did this for me when I was 15 walking alone to the train station, and I still think about it. He has no idea how much that meant to me. I feel like I owe him my life. I forgot to add how he intervened. He bellowed, she said no. With all the power and bass of a man 3 times his size. The freaking birds flew out of the trees at his voice. He was a skinny nerdy type with a plaid shirt and a leather messenger bag. He obviously reached to a very deep place to pull that out. Then he walked next to me until we passed the train station. I recently learned in a course that one way you can interject is to ask for the time. It can help break up the moment for them to get away or to ask for help. This may not work in every situation, but is subtle enough that it may help. If she is darting her eyes anxiously around the room as he gets closer to her. If he tries to distract her away from her drink. If he stays near her. Even as she moves away, could be with friends. Or just in general. With most people, all you will see is a general uneasiness that you would not see between 2 people that know each other. If you are ever suspecting of anything and she moves towards the bar or the bathroom, see if you can approach her in as calm of a manner as possible and ask her if she's alright. Also, if you are at a bar and you see him encouraging her to drink while he drinks very slowly, she's on her 6th but he's on his 2nd, there may be something going on. When he gets more persistent after being turned down. If you are my friend, I would very much welcome you to jump in and derail the conversation. I had a man be persistent on a train platform. When we boarded the train, a woman got herself between us and made a point to take the seat next to me so that the man could not. She told me she had noticed his behavior on the platform and wanted to help me. Be aware of what is going on around you. Women need to do this every day. Men don't tend to learn to. You should learn to. All great advice. 2 years ago I was in St. Louis visiting. And was with a few relatives at a bar. This random girl just sat next to us and outright said a guy described him. He was clearly eyeing her real hard from a store archway, was following her all night and she didn't know what to do. We kept her company for the rest of the night and even drove her home. Honestly wouldn't advise that full-heartedly, but that night helped a stranger out of a bad situation. I'd also add that if you see a couple together, or in proximity, in a bar and the woman seems fine but next drink seems sloppy drunk and out of it, and the guy says oh, she's had too much, don't worry, I'll take care of her. She may be drugged and on her way to a very bad situation. Not sure all that can be done. But at least challenge what's up. Offer to get her a taxi. Or at a minimum get details and a description. Seem like too much trouble for a stranger? Imagine if it were your mom, daughter, sister, friend. What would you want someone to do? Be the good guy. Fuck politeness. If you see someone walking too closely and she's nervous looking, not taking no for an answer from the woman, cornering a woman, or any number of intimidating behaviors, say, hey, are you okay? Or is this person bothering you? Do you know this person? Double quote. Apologize later if it turns out to be a non-threatening situation. I'd rather someone come off as rude in an effort to help than to stay silent in a potential moment of need. I'm not a woman, but feel it is important to say that always be as calm and trustworthy as possible. If that man is doing something to her, then it could be hard for her to trust someone else. Even if they are helping. Remember this. Yeah. I went the other direction once. It worked well. But I wouldn't do it again. I went for the jealous boyfriend act with a girl that was being harassed by some sketchy drifter looking dude. I walked up and made a scene about her talking to other guys. She was pretty cool about it and bought me a drink. To be fair, the dude was already making a scene. So I just went with the energy in the moment. When we got away from him, I told her that I was pretty sure that could have handled him herself. But I didn't want to chance it. Oftentimes the predatory types are followers. They usually think they're being sneaky, but if you see a guy paying a little too much attention to a woman, then you'll want to keep an eye on him and how much distance he puts between him and her. He will want to stay out of view until the last second where she's caught off guard and forced into a situation. It's very much the same signs as trying to kidnap someone. The more subtle ones just trying really hard to implicate sexual desires in conversation and you are certain she's just not into it. If he keeps pushing, just approach and be like, "Calm down buddy." Double quote. Often, as a guy, the best thing to do to make a woman feel safe is to just be there and make it obvious that she's not the one you're eyeing and you're watching out for danger. Not exactly the same thing, but if I'm walking behind a woman who is alone at night, I will cross the street so she doesn't have to worry. Have taught my sons to do this too. Yeah. I do this in parking lots too. Especially at night. Just drop back. Or stop and look at your phone for 5 seconds. Also, make a little noise if you're not in her eye line, so she doesn't have to wonder where you are. Go with your gut. Some women will be afraid to offend or just afraid in general and so won't overtly say or do anything to show they're uncomfortable. If you think you've spotted something and there's an appropriate way for you to intervene, confirm or deny your suspicions. There's not really any harm done if you're wrong. When a woman in the workplace is talking to a man, especially one not close to the same age, and it's during a work event, the man is being a little too nice or maybe inviting her somewhere. The woman is just saying haha or short responses. You should swoop in and rescue the woman from the interaction with the creepy coworker. Men that are normally fine sometimes get a little weird at work events involving drinking, and the woman can't escape gracefully without ruining work relations. Saw this guy once dragging this woman around by the hair. She's screaming. He's shouting. So I run over, grab the guy, and throw him to the floor away from the woman, then stand between him and the woman so he knows I'm going nowhere. Next thing I know, I've been whacked on the back of the head. I turn around and it's the same woman I thought I was helping with her shoe in her hand. She then starts screaming at me to leave her man alone. People are f'd up. I got 3 stitches for my trouble. Not saying don't help. And I probably would do the same thing again. But very nervous of reading those kind of situations now. If I were a girl in need of help, I'd simply come up to you and pretend I knew you. I would appreciate that guy playing along. Even if you're unsure, you could always just casually ask the girl if she's okay or needs assistance. Capital I. Best way to help is give her a real out, not a replacement boyfriend. If you see a predatory situation at a bar or some other indoor gathering, walk up to the pair and say, "Hey, do either of you own a red Toyota? Because it's getting towed right now." Double quote. If she jumps up and leaves, congrats. You gave her an out and you didn't make her feel like she needed to stay and chat with you. A potential replacement predator. See the good guy bad guy routine others have mentioned. I want to emphasize that predatory men can happen anywhere. I don't frequent bars much, but I've lost counts at the number of creepy, usually older, men with bad boundaries at various churches who insist they need a hug to properly welcome me and sometimes continue to insist week after receiving a firm no. Double quote. Body language. If she keeps backing up. If he has grabbed her arm and she's trying to pull away. Things like that. If she looks distressed. If she turns away and he circles around so he is facing her anyway. It really depends on the context on whether you should try to help. You will have to be intuitive on that one. If you see a man screaming things at a woman or following her around while she is trying to avoid him, intervene. If you see catcalls, intervene immediately. It is never a compliment, especially when it's directed to minors. I use body language. It's pretty clear when females are uncomfortable. Unless trained, they tend to project being uncomfortable. Same with men on the flip side of the coin. It's easy to read aggressive behavior in males. Point being, your brain will read the situation and you'll think, "Oh, that's weird." That's when you need to pay attention to what's going on around you. Help out when it's obvious that it's about to get physical. If you see a woman moving around a room, getting away from a specific man, and he keeps following her, sitting or standing too close to her. If she gets up and moves to another part of the room right after the man comes close to her, that's usually a sign that man is harassing her. If she looks uncomfortable, you can politely intervene. Try to make eye contact and see if she looks like she wants help. If you politely intervene and say something like "How are you?" the very worst thing that will happen is that everything is fine and you seem just slightly weird. If you're not busting in loud like a wannabe hero, you're fine. If she's pissed off at you because that is her BF or whatever, she's probably in a dysfunctional relationship and that's her problem. But you made the effort to be a good citizen. For all the women girls who are in uncomfortable situations in bars, pubs or clubs, there is, in the UK at least, a code word that is widespread amongst bar staff and security door staff bouncers. If you are in a situation such as a blind date, Tinder meet, or just being hit on by some random creepy bastard, go to someone who works there and ask for Angela. If they look blank, tell them to ask another staff member. Not everyone knows what it means, but persist. You will then be escorted to a place of safety, usually a manager's office, and whoever is pestering you will be removed as soon as possible. Source: I'm door staff and we do take your safety seriously. It's nice to see a man asking this. So much can be indicated by body language. If he is trapping her in some way, for example with one hand up in the wall, or has her cornered, men make themselves bigger to assert dominance. If he offers little to no escape for her, I would call it predatory behavior. Similarly, if she is making herself smaller and smaller, turning away from him and darting her eyes around looking for an escape or for someone to save her. I have been saved by a woman before who saw I was clearly trapped. She pretended to be my friend and that she was looking all over for me. It was amazing. Anxiety is the first sign you're not. Does she constantly check her phone? Is she wiping sweat a lot? Is her eyes darting around the room? Shifting uncomfortably? If the man is approaching her, you can tell if she is uncomfortable with contact. As simple as a hand on her shoulder. Is she trying to push it away or is feeling tense? The right place would be when he is making a move on her and she is absolutely uncomfortable. Try to act like you are acquainted with her. Chances are she might play by that. I'm a guy, but I knew what was going on pretty much the moment it happened. I was at a train station. It was night and a random girl who looked flustered just started talking to me like we were friends. I just went along with it. Once we were on the train she told me some guys were following her. Another time my wife, who was then my girlfriend, was being followed at night. She just happened to spot a guy out walking two big dogs. She quickly went up to him, asked him what time it was, and kept walking with him until she noticed the guys were gone. Seriously, if a random woman comes up to you looking a bit panicked, act like you know her. Definitely call the police if a woman is being attacked, but never step in the middle of that mess. YouTube is full of videos of white knights getting stabbed, shot, or beaten to a bloody pulp, only to watch the woman walk away hand in hand with her abuser. Police are professionals. Let them sort out who did what to whom. Don't just look around for random guys you don't know being predatory. Take a good look at your friends and family. A good man will stand up to strangers or a random woman. But many men won't call out their friends because they don't want to make waves in their own lives. This is one big way that men get away with being abusive. Their male friends either back them up or turn a blind eye. The biggest step, I believe, toward curbing predatory behavior is being willing to call out people close to you when they show this kind of behavior. Also, if you have a son, teach them that women are people and that no matter what, men are not entitled to women's time, attention, or body. One time out at the bars, I lived in a university town and the students had just come back for the beginning of the school year. I saw this small blonde girl who was clearly shitty wasted have this older dude who struggled with English. He was way out of place BC, it was mostly young college kids. I saw him walk right up to her, talking to her and getting closer and closer. All I did, and I feel this was pretty neutral, was walk up to him and act buddy buddy. Like slapping him on the back and shit. And he just kinda scurried off. I asked the girl if she was there with her friends and made random small talk and basically tried to see if I could hang out with her until her friends collected her BC. She was gone lol. Eventually she went to the bathroom but didn't come back out, and I just admitted my charity could only accomplish so much. I have absolutely no problem straight up asking a woman if she's alright if I detect even a hint of a problem. My ex was raped and my fiance was beaten in an attempt back in June. If a guy wants to get offended that I ask a random woman right in front of him, he can make something of it and catch some of this suppressed rage I've got going on. Stay safe out there, ladies. Seriously. As a guy, this is something I never had to consider. Because honestly I never had to worry about it. I once had a random lady come up and give me a hug and ask how I had been. I was confused until I saw someone staring daggers at me. And then it clicked. I rolled with it. And she stayed within a few feet of me the entire night. We would talk when he came around. But other than that she had fun and I chatted with people while eyeing the guy. I walked her to her friend's car and saw her off. Never saw either again. If a woman is in a public place reading a book or staring into her phone while a man repeatedly tries to strike up a conversation with her, he's a predator. Especially if he's trying to find out where she lives or on public transportation, which is a stop. Any non-confrontational change of topic can derail the creep. For instance, "Excuse me, those earrings you're wearing look like something my wife would enjoy as a Christmas present. Where did you get them?" Double quote. Not a woman but just yell, "Do you need help over there?" Leave it ambiguous for who you are talking to, yet obvious if only one answers no. Ask the other to answer. If either one says yes, intervene. If neither respond, say it louder. If both say no, walk away. Pro tip: men can be harassed like women. Unlikely, yes. But the sum of the same tactics work regardless of gender. Including drugs, following and aggression. Was once waiting for my boyfriend at the time and a man came up and started getting aggressive trying to talk to me. Another man observed it happening and walked up to me, inserted himself between me and the aggressive stranger and started up a conversation as if we knew each other. It was enough to get the man making me uncomfortable to leave. Forever thankful to that kind of stranger. He did nothing but calmly pretend we were meeting up, but even the suggestion there is someone around that knows is looking out for you can be enough. If she's looking to and from him a lot, she's probably looking for an out help. If she's trying to put space between them or walk away but he keeps moving in or following, something's definitely up. Not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but sometimes people say that if a woman randomly comes up to you in public and acts super friendly like she knows you personally, you should just go along with it too. Because they could be trying to subtly ease their way out of a dangerous situation that they don't want to directly confront. From the predator's POV. If it appears the woman is with a male acquaintance, it's more likely to deter a predator. In this situation there was very loud music, so body language was everything. I was dancing at a club one time when this guy started trying to dance with me. Practically on me actually. And looking creepy doing it. I kept moving away and turning my back to him, but he kept it up. A friend of mine saw it happening and he just danced right up between me and the creepy guy. Wedged himself between us with his back to the guy. Just kind of moving the guy away with his body. He was smiling at me with this mischievous grin while the guy flailed around trying to get around him. My friend just kept blocking him until he finally gave up. It made me laugh so hard and I loved him for it. Several years ago, I was at Coachella in the Sahara tent watching a set by myself. The rest of my friends were at the main stage. This guy kept getting too close to me and making physical contact. I moved away from him in the crowd several times. But each time he moved next to me, this other group of guys noticed and waved me over to them. They said they saw what the creep was doing and wanted to make sure I was okay. Luckily I wasn't very intoxicated and had the wherewithal to realize these guys had good intentions. They also had a few girls in their group. I stuck it out with them for the remainder of the set. I told them how much their gesture meant to me and they told me it was nothing. Afterwards, they made sure I reunited with my friend group. Can I just tell you how utterly frustrating it is that very often the only time a creep will leave a woman alone is if another man gets involved. I appreciate this post and everyone's contributions. But if you're a man who thinks women play hard to get, take a good hard look at yourself and ask if you want to be the man women are actively scared of. And if the answer is yes, go FCK yourself. Look for usual signs of an uncomfortable person, i.e., nervously looking around. Maybe she is holding her hands up in a back off kind of way. Or just generally trying to avoid someone who is much too close to practice safe social distancing. Yeah, it's a corona joke. I'm disgusting. And if something looks like not normal behavior from everyone else around, something is probably wrong. And I think at that point it would be perfectly acceptable for you to get on your phone, walk directly to the girl and creep in question and ask her very seriously, is this the guy? Double quote. I think that would be enough to scare said creep away. Even if he was just her asshole boyfriend. Results may vary, but I would love to hear about them. Pay attention to body language. If her laughs look fake, she's staying away from him. He has her arm around her but she's bunched up as if she doesn't want it. Her eyes look like they're asking for help, etc. Step in and say something simple, like, hey, my girlfriend is in the bathroom and I'm worried. Mind going in to check on her? Once she gets up and begins walking to the bathroom, pull her aside and ask her if she's okay, needs help, etc. Step in and say something simple, like, hey, my girlfriend is in the bathroom and I'm worried. Mind going in to check on her? Once she gets up and begins walking to the bathroom, pull her aside and ask her if she's okay, needs help. If he takes a step forward and she takes one or several steps back, please make it stop by simply coming up and asking if everything's alright. Don't stare at the woman while doing it. Try to not look like another threat. Look at the predator and put as much distance between every individual, including you. Don't be a superhero. Protect yourself too, as you can. I don't want to be the asshole on this topic, but I am a bit angry that again the predatory behavior is pointed towards males only. It is true males are statistically more often the predator, but we barely mention the predatorial behavior of women. Yes, males get raped by women. Yes, males get abused. No, we are not weak because this happened to us. These kinda topics frustrate me when only males are being addressed. But on the other hand, I'm all for the awareness on protecting everyone's safety, males, females. Not a woman, but if there are women reading this, one of the things you might want to do is call someone so you can chat with someone until you're in a safe place. Make sure to speak loud enough and that the person you called can have a minimum of information on your whereabouts. Hearing that you're talking with someone might be just enough to discourage someone. Not a woman, but it is possible to just ask. Takes a bit of guts. If like you see something questionable out on the town, to just walk up and ask if everything is alright. One time I did just that and the guy creep flipped out on me. Not exactly making a strong case for himself. I'm seeing a lot of comments saying how you should intervene if you see a woman getting creeped on, harassed. But since this is Reddit, home of the nice guy, I feel like I should also add this. Even after you go out of your way to defend someone, they don't owe you anything. If she's a minor being pursued by an adult, you should automatically intervene. It's crazy how many people allow literal pedophiles to harass children. In an ice cream store, someone literally said to my friend, "Wow, you're really pretty for a high schooler," and kept flirting with her. The people in the store, the employees behind the counter, etc. all looked a little queasy, but no one came close to intervening. If the girl looks uncomfortable but you can't quite tell, subtly asking her if she's okay never hurts. If you know she's not okay, jumping in as a brother, friend, boyfriend, dad is usually the best idea. I hate that we have to come up with a system for this kind of thing. So I really appreciate you guys asking if there's a way you can help. Thank you. If it is clear that the woman needs help and is uncomfortable, but you are not the confrontational type, just start talking to the guy. Give him a big hello like you know him from the office and are surprised to see him here. Then just ask him what he is up to or some other friendly banter. This gives her time to escape but has little chance of starting a fight. Most likely you will just get a confused look as he tries to figure out who you are. As a straight dude, start hitting on the dude who's being a perv. Especially if you're larger. Make him feel the same fear and annoyance that he's giving out to someone smaller than him. Hey. Don't I know you from somewhere? No? Oh. How about I buy you a drink and we get to know each other? You have really nice lips. But it was really your ass in those pants that drew me to you. Why don't we go to my place so you can suck my dick? Why are you playing hard to get? Do you have a boyfriend already? He must be really lucky to be f***ing you. Double quote. My hope is that by showing themselves how they're treating others, they'll get some self-awareness. I was at a dance club one night and was just dancing by myself and I see a couple next to me and he was being very handsy with the girl and as she would push his hand off he would just move it back on to not let her escape. I could tell she was struggling. I just grabbed her arm and pulled her hard enough to break his grip and pulled her past me which pulled me right into his face. He tried to puff up at me, we were about the same size, and said WTF. I just responded she obviously was not enjoying that. He said well you don't know her. I said I didn't need to. Then my buddy came to my back and he just walked off the dance floor. I never saw the girl after I pulled her past me. I hope she was okay. But I know she was better off than with that guy. Learn body language. As women you start to notice when other women look uncomfortable. Men don't have that instinct taught into them from a young age. Also, if a person ever has to look around before making a joke, it's probably offensive. Also, just call men out on their shite. No man who treats women like trophies or meat is going to listen to a woman. But they may listen to another man. Finally, just keep yourself accountable and continue to educate yourself. Men who are aggressive towards women will also be aggressive towards you. Especially if you CC block them while harassing a woman. They will be pissed you interrupted them. And they will be pissed you are embarrassing them in front of people. Be prepared for a fight. Assholes are assholes to everybody. Man here. Here's something that I've done and been told was helpful. If you see a guy being creepy at a woman, go up to her and pretend you know her. Hi. How are you? Long time no see. Stuff like that. If they're trying to get away from the guy, they'll pretend right along with you. I've done this several times in bars. And only once did the woman either not know what I was doing, or was just with the creepy guy. And occasional mild awkwardness is totally worth the trade-off of helping women escape creeps. If a man is standing super close but the woman is looking around, she's likely looking for help. Also, if she is clutching something super tight versus just holding it, the biggest help is getting over there and asking for time, change for $1, or anything that makes the guilty party back up. For me I had my phone out and on but I wasn't looking at it. I was looking all around me trying not to look at the guy following me at the train station in the city, but also looking incredibly lost. I had missed my first train and the next one didn't come for an hour. A hockey game ended beforehand and there were fans around and a group noticed my behavior and called out like I was a college and called me over and started talking to me about the game. Good things happen in Philadelphia. Another thing. I was sitting at a red light once and this girl crossed the street in front of me. She looked to be in her early 20s. This much older guy quickly came up behind her. It was dark out. He looked homeless and she was polite so she stopped when he approached her. She immediately started to look uncomfortable. Fidgeting. Trying to edge away. I turned my radio down and hear this guy saying things like oh just keep me company baby. Why you gotta say no and blah blah blah. At that point I turned my radio all the down and just glared at them. The light turned green and I continued to sit there glaring. The car next to me caught on and stayed out as well. Rolled their window down too. The guy noticed, immediately turned around and left her alone. I asked if she was okay. She said she was just going a block down. So I followed slowly in my car till she walked through the door and parked for a few minutes to make sure he didn't follow. Just making a point to let them know they are being watched helps. If you see any kind of contact, whether they grab their shoulder, try to grab their arm, maybe their waist, or more plainly chest or butt, and the girl is turned away from them, maybe not talking to them, just standing there, or trying to move away, that is a good sign you should step in. A really good way to help, especially if you have a few friends, is just to interrupt the conversation somehow. This will disrupt predatory behavior and hopefully diffuse the situation. Having friends there just helps with outnumbering the guy, even just to interrupt the conversation. Many women are tolerant, amicable, and courteous to deter any violent retribution from any perceived rejection, but in my experience, a woman's disquietude is palpable. I've attempted to evade propositions from domineering men with ambiguous laughter and taking incremental steps away from him. If his demeanor becomes aggressive, women usually stop but angle their bodies away from him. Those tenacious few who attempt to restrain you require extrinsic intervention. The dispersion of responsibility and the bystander effect usually elicit askance or disdain, so intervene if you hear her perturbed voice. Don't presume another will. I am not a woman, but I read that if somebody seems insistent and the woman uneasy, you just distract the guy by asking the hour or direction. Or you pretend to know the woman. It avoids direct confrontation and limit awkwardness, while giving the woman the occasion to just leave and showing the man he is under surveillance. I'm sure this has been said, but I would like to repeat it for maximum effect. So please forgive me if my comment is something someone has already mentioned. If you notice someone, of any gender, not just a woman, saying no to the person they are with, and the person they are with does not obey her refusal, please do something about it. Go over and no to this person. Excuse me, she neither etc. said no to you. Or go over and act like you're friends with the person who said no, and then covertly ask them, hey, are you okay? Are you safe? Do you need emergency services? Or other such helpful questions. This can save someone's life in the short term and many other lives in the long term. Pretty obvious, but if he's in her personal space, sitting directly next to her with thighs touching, leaning very close into her, got his arm around her, but she looks stiff as a board, not talking, and usually looking down, it's a dead giveaway that she does not want him around her. Some women freeze up and can't fight back or run away. They just panic so much that they go into autopilot. If the woman is struggling to get out of someone's grip, intervene. I had a guy run up to me at the bus stop on a Saturday night. He grabbed me in a bay hug. Then he tried to drag me off somewhere, saying, come to this way with me. Come on. Double quote. I keep saying no thank you. Please let go. While struggling to get out of his grip. The bus stop was full of people and no one helped me. I used to work with a gay man at a formal wear shop when I was younger. Once in a blue moon, creepy guys getting fitted would walk out with their pants undone or off and ask for fitting help. Directly ask the younger female employees. Once a guy did this, and my co-worker immediately and flamboyantly intercepted and said, hey, I'd be happy to help you. Yeah. What's the issue? Dude magically figured out his pants on the spot. On a simpler level, most men I know, if they see a creepy guy checking out an underage girl in public, they will just stare at them and scowl hard. Sometimes just making your male presence known is a big help. If someone is ever staring at or talking to children and they don't seem related or the kids seem uncomfortable, listen to the conversation to see if there is anything going on. If there is, stare the adult down until they go away or ask them what they are doing and stick around. Close enough to keep the person away but not so close as to spook the kids. Until their parents get back. Kids will often know something is wrong but won't know what.